Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're going to see all day. And here on this live stream, you are going to get a very nice 505 beat making session. Oh, yeah, it's going to be good. I have here, as you're hearing, the beginning, the foundation, the skeleton of a beat made on my loopers here. This is just my vocals going through the mic and the loopers making it sound different. I'm going to be talking about all of that. As I make a beat, I'm going to be describing what I'm doing with the loopers. Here's what this, button does or whatever I'm doing. I'm going to talk about the sound effects. It's going to be great. You made the right decision joining us. And as we hang out here in this foundation of a beat, this skeleton of a beat that we're going to build up over the next hour, as we are here, listen, this is a warm-up phase. We are getting the blood flowing right now, just sort of feeling things out. And as we are here in this warm-up phase, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate. Thank you for being here. Whether you are here with us live in the chat, like my man, whether you are here with us live in the chat, or you are here with us live but you are not in the chat, or if you are joining us after the stream on replay, however you are joining us, thank you for being here. I need to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have my drink. I am going to count to 3. I am going to clink the screen. At that time, you are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness. And it all, of course, begins on 1. Oof. That's a really good slow count up. It's just you can really get into it. 2. Wow, this is really just working so well and building up. I love it. And it all culminates on 3. Clank. Cheers, my friends. Man, it is good. I love connecting with you at this time in this way. Please like this video. So we are here in this 505 beat making stream. And since this is all about the technical details of the 505 loopers, I have these two 505s, which is short for RC 505. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It's probably too small to see on the camera. It's right here on the bottom one, between where I'm pointing. On the top one, it's right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably too far on the camera. Anyway, RC 505 loopers. This is going to be really helpful for you. You might be thinking about getting one of these loopers and you're wondering, like, how do they work? How do you use it? That's what I'm going to be showing you. You might already use these and you're just looking to see, like, how does this guy do it? I love seeing other 505 artists because there's such a variety in how people use it. It's really cool. So I'm just showing you my way, the way that I sort of intuitively stumbled my way through using these loopers. And I'm going to start by showing you how I made this beat already. So I got this kick that you're hearing right now. That's generally where I start with my beats. Anytime you see me make a beat on a stream, that's where I start. So this one might sound familiar if you've seen some of these previous 505 beat making streams. But the way I made this kick is that I stack two input effects. That's one of the things you can do on these as a fundamental. It gives you up to 3 on this bottom looper here. This is called the Mark 1. This one came out first. And it's simpler than the top one, which we'll get to in a minute. So, the Mark 1 down here that I'm using for the drums, that's generally what I use this bottom one for, is drums or atonal stuff I use it for sometimes. Or if I put a little rap, I put like a 4-bar, 8-bar rap, or even, I have put a whole 16-bar rap into one of these. You could do that. You could put a 32-bar, 64-bar, a 51-bar. You can program it how you want in terms of the length. Anyway, my point is I use the bottom loop for the drums, and I stack, in this case today, when I made this kick, I stack 2 input effects. If you're into the 505, you know that, or you might not know, and this is why you're here, that the EQ effect is what it sounds like. So if I put on this EQ effect, which is what this kick drum is based on, the EQ effect just takes like, a normal audio signal going through the mic, or a keyboard if you want, but my keyboard isn't hooked up to the loopers. Loopers only get the mic as input. For me. So the EQ effect is what it sounds like. You get to do things like control the overall volume, high end, low end. That's the EQ input effect. So I start with that because it's a nice way to amplify my overall input. And when I do these kicks, all I'm doing is like, I'm not doing a lot a cappella. It's the looper that makes it sound sort of crumpled and distorted like this. So that's what I'm showing you now. The EQ that I use as a bass line for this kick has a little bit boosted on the high end and a little bit reduced on the high end. Or I'm sorry, a little bit boosted on the low end and a little bit reduced on the high end. So I'm tightening it down from just normal. Then I take the output of that and pass it through what's called a vocal distortion. And that's where you get what you're hearing that's more like distorted, crumply. And you can dial up and down how much distortion you want on it. But that's how I made this kick. All I'm doing in the mic is like whatever the beat is that I did here. But it's mostly the looper that makes it sound, louder and crumpled. But then I move on. Today, as I often do, I went, I believe, to the hi-hat shaker layer next. It uses the same input effects, in this case today, as the kick drum. I I like to, where possible, I keep the different layers somehow complementing or resembling each other in a way. So in this case, for these drums, I built them out of the same input effects. Just that EQ with the lower end boosted a bit and the higher end reduced a bit. And then instead of doing my kick drum thing, I just do like a, letter T or S. Just like that simple thing. I'm not doing much a cappella. This gives you a lot of confidence if you're considering getting one of these loopers and you're wondering whether you'll be able to do something cool with it. The answer is, well, if you think what I'm showing you is even at all cool, then you could do better than this. That's probably for sure. And the loopers are what make it have all the sound textures and sound effects and things. So you should feel confident. After doing this hi-hat shaker layer, which I do, by the way, this is probably like 3 or 4 layers. I'm doing things just like and like very, very simple sound effects. The looper is what makes it sound better. And I just loop over itself. You can do that with the looper. You can not overwrite, but overdub, I think it's called. I could be wrong. But just, lay down a basic loop and then record over it, layer it. I generally do that with my hi-hat shaker layers. And then I move on. I do that, snare, that thing. That's what comes next often. It certainly did today. Once again, I kept it simple with the drums today, and I just had them all match with the same input effects. So all 3 layers of the drums are built out of the same input effects. And by the way, not a lot of loop artists do what I'm doing with splitting out the drum into multiple layers like this, in the sense that I have one looper dedicated to drums. I think it's pretty natural. When I got a second looper, I keep one dedicated to, and that enabling me to have just the, shakers and snare thing on. Or just do the kicks. I think it's very intuitive. And after I have all the percussion, today I went on to this layer here. And if you're wondering whether this layer and all the layers that you hear on the top looper, if you're wondering if this is me doing something special a cappella into the mic, the answer is no, it is not. So this layer here is me just going like, nah, like it's bad. I don't know how to sing at all, but the looper is making it sound nice or sound better. So how did I make it sound like that? That's what this stream is all about. I'm explaining how you could reproduce similar effects with your looper or have confidence in trying this if you're thinking about getting one or maybe even renting one. That's a possibility too. So here's how I built this one. The sound effect here. There you go. It had a little bit of an output effect on it. I took that off. This thing you're hearing now. The top looper gives you a lot more than the bottom looper does. The top looper is the Mark II model. It has a lot of new features, and I'm going to be talking about those as we continue through the stream today. One of those differences is that even though the bottom looper gives you the ability to do 3 layers of input effects to make it sound like a kick drum or whatever this is. I'm using as a kick drum. The bottom looper gives you 3 layers. The top looper, though, it gives you 4 layers. And also, it gets better than that. There's another dimension of awesomeness. The top looper also not only lets you have 4 sound effect layers, or let's say sound effect inputs, it also lets you save in a single like saved configuration, what I call a palette. The top looper also lets you save 4 of those sets of 4 inputs, 4 instruments, so to speak. So I can stack 4 different input. Yeah, that's right, input. I can stack 4 different input effects and make it sound like, you know, whatever this is, some kind of organ maybe. That's one instrument. That's one stacking of input effects. And here's how I did it in this case. The 4 input effects that I used to create this sound go like this. It starts with electric. Electric is an auto tuner. So even though I don't know how to sing, the electric takes it and tunes it to the key of E in this particular case. It can do the 12 major scales. So my singing is like mostly not too off key, but yeah, it's off key. And my off key singing going into the mic can be, you know, I guess auto-tuned, snapped, if you will, to whatever key I choose, whatever major key I want to use. So for my musician friends who want to jam along on the stream today as we continue building out this beat, this one is tuned to the key of E major. Beats per minute is 147.2. 147.2. So we got this sound effect here, or this instrument rather. The first sound effect going into this one, as I say, is the electric. And right now I kind of feel electric because I see that has joined us. I'm feeling really good about that. Warheart says, I want to get a 505 more and more every time I watch you. Yeah, that's... I'm trying to give you confidence that you could do something really cool with it. Because you totally could. I don't know how to sing at all. My singing is terrible. I have inspiration, but I don't have like a trained singing voice that can well articulate. But this helps me. The looper helps me. It's really nice. It's very intuitive to use, although it is complicated. I'm not going to try to pretend like it's not complicated. It's pretty complicated. But once you learn it, it's very intuitive. Anyway, continuing on, how did I make this sound effect? Or this instrument? How did I build this instrument? This one started with the, as I say, the electric, which is the tuner. Then that is passed into the next input effect I passed into, or passed it through, is the synth. The synth I use in a way that you might use some kind of brass, a horn of some kind, that role in composition or songwriting. That's what I use the quote-unquote synth. But it's got some flexibility. You can make it sound really different from how I use it. Anyway, the electric, which is the tuner, passed into a synth, which is what gives it its primary flavor. And then I can still pass it into 2 more input effects. So I pass it through a phaser. That's not really very high right now. If you listen really carefully, you might hear a little bit. It's there a little bit. It's a little clearer in the first iteration right now. Less clear in this one. The phaser. The phaser just gives it like a wavy feeling. And again, you control the intensity of it. You can make it really loud wave. You can make it more subtle. Then after all that, I pass it through the tremolo, which is where it gets choppy. Toward the end, it gets a little choppy. I was turning up the tremolo. You control these things dynamically. You don't have to program them ahead of time. I mean, you should. I save all of my sound effects and everything ahead of time, but you don't have to program their like intensity levels. You use this thing here to control them. This knob. So it's really easy to use. So that's this layer here, and it's sort of a supporting layer. It's just like a long tones drawn out. That's what I usually use this slot for. This slot is a little left from the center, so it's also a little panned from the center if you're listening carefully on your headphones. Warheart says this has to be easier than an MPC. I'm not an MPC user, so I can't comment on that. But I can say that I do find it easier to like really nail what I'm trying to express when I do it verbally, vocally, as opposed to needing to like finger drum it. In general, I can really nail it beatboxing. But I imagine I'd have some kind of like, oh, I can't quite express what I'm trying to. I imagine I'd reach some limits there that I would be able to do just beatbox and something. Anyway, you may notice that I brought in a second layer that's a little to the right, which is panned to the right. And these are doubles of the same input effect. I generally flank the bass with those. The bass is panned to the center and is physically positioned in the center. So I have this like panning layout that I do in my Mark II up here. There's also output effects. You can hear I'm throwing that on the drums here. Clearer, now more like echoey. So they have output effects too. In this case, this one is called a tape echo. Tape echo, that is. So how do I make this bass? Because once again, this is just me having terrible singing skills, and I'm going like, doo, you know, that it's that skill level. I'm not exaggerating at all. But this makes it sound like some kind of dope bass. I actually am not thrilled with my basses in general. I have a lot of work to do in the bass department, I think. But you can hear what I'm currently doing. How did I build this particular bass sound? Like all basses that I use, I think. I don't think there's any exceptions to this, but I reserve the right to have forgotten some exceptions. But out of all my, I have 36 different palettes that I've made, different palettes of sound effects and horn, bass, you know, whatever. You can save 4 different instruments. My bass is one of them. So this one is built out of a guitar to bass. That's the thing that's across all of my basses, I think. Guitar to bass is what it sounds like. If you were to plug in a guitar, you plug it through this, or you run it through rather this input effect, and it's going to sound like you're playing a bass. So that's all this is. And if you come in there with a microphone and you're just like, doo, it makes it sound like a bass. That's all I'm doing. So that's the core flavor of this one, of this bass. And then I pass this through an electric. Once again, that's the tuner. In this case, we're tuned to the key of E. And then after that, I pass it through a sustainer. What is a sustainer? Basically volume. That's the primary way that I use it. but it has some other uses too. You can manipulate the sound, density and textures a bit. I use it mostly as volume. So we got the guitar to bass input effect passed into the electric, which is the tuner, and then passed into a sustainer, which gives it a little more oomph, a little more body. And then after that, oh yeah, listen at the end of the bass. I'm gonna be like, now, listen to the bass. It's got like a little bit of a reverb. So here it comes. No, I'm gonna be quiet. Listen now. Yeah, it's like it's really subtle at the end there. There's a little bit of reverb. They have a reverse reverb. The bottom looper, the Mark I, has got one kind of reverb. It has a couple kinds of delays. It has a delay. It has a panning delay. It has I believe it's called a granular delay. It's got this tape echo that I'm using on the drums. This is sort of like a delay. It's basically, I use it like a delay. Tape echo. So the bottom looper has a few different types of delays and reverbs, or I'm sorry, it has one reverb, a couple kinds of delays. The top looper has multiple reverbs, more kinds of delays. It's got so much more. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited about it. And if you are familiar with my streams in general, you may know that I talk about how my lower looper here, my Mark I, I've been using this since at least 2017. And I used to take it to shows, played a lot of shows with taking it in and out and moving over there and take this down and put it back up and do this and do that and do that. So there's a fair amount of wear and tear on the lower looper. What is that, 8 years, is that right? Maybe 8 to 8.5 years. So my lower looper is showing some wear and tear to the point that it's having some impact on my ability to use it effectively. So I'm considering replacing it. And if I do, then I'll be getting another Mark II. So I would have 2 Mark IIs instead of having a Mark I and a Mark II. I'm not sure exactly when I would actually follow through on that, but it's going to be really dope. That's going to open up another lot of possibilities, because now I know how to use this thing already. This top looper I've had since originally I got it during the pandemic, the top looper. That's when it came out. It was brand new in the spring of 2020. Maybe it was the summer. I'm not sure. Basically 5 years ago, if you're here with us in the live stream, basically about 5 years ago from today is when this top looper came out. And since I was already a very frequent and avid Mark I user from the bottom looper, I was already using it for like 3.5 years. I was really excited that there was a Mark II coming out, because I was thinking about getting a second looper to do like 2 looper stuff. So I was getting ready to get a Mark I. And I was getting ready. I'm like, all right, one of these days I need to do it. And frankly, the pandemic happened. And I wasn't playing shows anymore. So I was like, man, this might be a good time for me to just like try to expand my, I don't know, tool set. Is that what you would say? Toolbox? So I felt like then, I was like, all right, now's the time. I'm going to get a second looper. Let me go get another Mark I. And when I went to go get one, I saw that there was an announcement that the Mark II was coming out in like 2 weeks or something like that. They're like, by the way, there is a Mark II looper coming out. I was like, what? And that was like right at the moment that I had made the decision that I was just going to get another Mark I so I could do 2 looper stuff. So I was really excited, and I got the Mark II like as soon as it came out. I pre-ordered it. But the device I got, the Mark II I got, was defective. It had various technical problems almost every time I use it. And I'm talking like it would work maybe 1 out of 20 times. It was very broken. And I was sitting there trying to update the firmware. I'm like, all right, is this gonna fix it? And I was talking with my vendor who sold it to me. And he was just like, hey man, let's just get you a new one. So he replaced it, which was awesome. So by the time he replaced it and I got a new one, it was like probably the end of 2020. So I might just count it as like starting in 2021 for counting purposes. That's how I treat when I got this bottom looper. I think I might have actually gotten this in 2016 at some point, but I'm just going to say 2017 for counting purposes. Top looper 2021. So at the time of this recording, I've been using it for about 4.5 years. And in those 4.5 years, I've gotten very comfortable with it. I understand how I like the UI to be set up. So if I now go get another Mark II to replace this bottom one that's kind of failing a bit, then it's going to be really fly to have 2 Mark IIs. But the best part is, and if you've been on the streams for the past couple weeks, you may know what I'm going to say next. The best part is, when I get another Mark II, whenever that might be, when I get another Mark II, and then I have 2 Mark IIs, I will still have my Mark I. So I could hook up 3 loopers. I don't know though. I don't know, that might be a bit much. But here's what's not too much. I see that Warheart says, as I'm sitting here talking about getting 2 Mark IIs, he's like, whoa man, that's like having 1 Mark IV. Kinda is. Warheart says, do a giveaway. A giveaway of my old Mark I? I don't know, I might want to use it. But I will take your suggestion under consideration. It like I say, it is kind of broken a little. So I don't know if I want to give it away. The main problem I have is the volume slider, as you see over here. You see how it's still playing the kick drum right now? Yet the volume slider is all the way down. Do you see that on the bottom? And it's sort of like a magic, there you go, I got it to go down. It's sort of like a magic touch kind of thing. Sometimes the top doesn't work as well. Looks like it's working okay right now. Yeah, see? There you go. Took a couple tries. So that interferes with the song. Maybe if you're using this particular volume slider for something that doesn't require precision, like my kicks do. Also, these buttons stick. To get it repaired, it would be at least a couple $100. Probably at least $200 to $300 to get it repaired. And there are a couple of other issues as well, but they might not raise the price. A couple of other like knob not goodnesses. So I don't know. I don't want to do a giveaway and be like, here's my broken thing. Nonetheless. Warheart says try Deoxit. I actually have Deoxit right here. I've been using it for probably a couple of months. It's still not really doing it. I think it's bent. I think there's a bend in the at some point, because this is my kick drum. So that means when I'm playing a show, you know, I'm not sitting here like I usually, like you see me on streams. When I'm playing a show, it's a lot more like, you know, doing that kind of stuff, and there's more activity. And this one, the kick, gets a lot of oomph. So I think it's just bent. But I do use deoxit, and it did help a bit, and it helps some of the other ones, some of the other issues. It's still in a state where it interferes enough that that is not great. But again, if you were to use this layer for something other than a kick drum, like some kind of ambient layer, or something that has a lot of space in it, so that, you know, you can like get it in its perfect position without needing to be you know, in a fraction of a second doing it. But here's something that we need to do in not a fraction of a second. And that is start adding to the rest of this beat. You're fully caught up to speed on things like fundamentals of how the loopers work. If you've seen previous 505 streams, you've heard some of that spiel before. You got the 505 basics, a little bit of it, and also how I made these instruments. You heard two of my instruments for this palette. This like horn kind of thing, horn organ kind of thing, horngan. Right now I see in the chat, I missed it. We are welcoming Ryan. Thank you for joining us. All right. My point being, you've heard the horn instrument, the bass instrument. That's two instruments in my palette, but every palette lets you have four instruments. So I have two more. And they're going to go in these two empty loops that you see on the sides here. That's my general format for these 505 streams. Oh, and by the way, I neglected to mention, on today's stream and on all 505 beatmaking streams, please let me know what you want to see or know. I'm doing these streams because people asked for them. So I want them, to the best of my ability, to be helpful for you. So let me know what, I don't know, whatever you want to need, whatever you want to know about them. Will I always have answers to everything? Nope. Will I tell you what I do know? Yes. That one is a yes. So let's add to this beat. Let's add something to this beat here. We got just the basis, and we're already, what, 40 minutes into the stream here? Yeah, 40 minutes in. You got the foundation. It's good. Let's add the two more layers with the two more instruments. What do I want to go to next? Let me see what I got here. Probably this one. Yeah. Let's do this one next. So this next one that I'm about to use, here's what this next one is going to be made of. You haven't heard this next one yet. At least not on this stream. This next instrument that I'm going to use, this one is built out of a synth as the core flavor. And that one is the one that sounds like a horn. These layers here, these ones are built out of the synth as well. So the same input effect, but just like, you know, knobs tweaked a little bit. It has various little, the frequency and whatever. Tonality, whatever it is. So this next one I'm going to use, also built out of the synth as the core flavor. Then it's passed into a dynamic, or dynamics, I believe it's called. That one gives it like a smooth, almost metallic texture. Then after that, it's passed into an electric. That's the tuner. And then this one's going to be passed into a slicer, which is going to make it work nice with this one here when it slices up. Yeah, it's going to work nice with that. And I'm going to build a another loop here with this next instrument that's twice as long as these other ones that you're hearing here. This one's going to be as long as the bass. The bass is already twice as long as those. So let's do it. I'm going to go off the speaking mic now, and I'm going to just do some horrible, horrible singing into the mic here. And again, it's going to be passed into my raw vocals. My raw, terrible singing vocals are going to be passed into a synth, the horn type of sound, or roll anyway. Synth, dynamics, the smooth metallics, the tuner, the electric, and then the slicer. Let's do it. Back to the speaking mic. So here it is. Here's what we got. You know the biggest actual theme that we got that I must give voice and articulation to? It is in fact the fact that this world needs a who has also joined us in the chat right now, which is great. Anyway, this is the new sound I just did. Me singing terribly. That's me. But the looper makes it sound nice. And once again, it was the synth, dynamics, electric, slicer, step slicer. Now, one of the things you might have seen me do, and if not, you can always rewind the video, but I started to like press one of these buttons here, these green buttons. And what I was going to do is adjust the volume levels. Each loop has its own volume level. And right now, I want that one I just did to stand out a little more than it does. So I'm going to bring these two down while I bring this one a little up. And you do that through this button here, this green button. There's just a thing that's volume. So I'm going to turn those down a little bit. They are a little loud. Take this one up. Oh, I just pressed the one over here to get that volume. Pretty nice. Tentatively. I can always go back and adjust it later. By the way, you might notice I'm doing this. I've done this a few times on the stream. And I'm like grabbing like this. If I'm grabbing for something. Usually I have my headphones draped in front of me. But a couple streams ago, I realized that if I put my headphone wire, that's what I mean, my headphone wire is draped in front of me like this. And I'm always trying to like move it out of the way and everything. A couple streams ago, I realized that I can put it behind myself and then like very loosely put it through my belt buckle. Ooh, it was coming out a bit, so I'm glad I did. I'm glad I checked. But just loosely, not enough to damage the wire. And now I don't have to deal with it. And yet the habit is ingrained in some kind of autopilot behavior of mine. some kind of behavior that I'm not fully conscious of. Not fully aware. It's not an intentional behavior. It's just happening. I like to take that stuff and not do it anymore. If there's something that I'm doing unconsciously, no. Unless it's a habit that I personally installed into my behavior. No, man. I don't like unconscious behavior. I put intention into as much as possible. Warheart says, is that why I always stroke my beard? Do I? Oh no, that's more unconscious behavior. I'm not aware that I do that. What do I do? This? Is that what I do? Or do I do this? I could imagine that I might do one of those. This one is not necessarily stroking my beard always. Sometimes I might just be like, But this would probably be stroking my beard. Because yeah, I used to have a huge beard. Like, we are not in joke territory beard. I used to do that every year. I was just, man, I just bit my tongue. Oh no, that's bad. Let's see if I can. All right, it's already becoming in the manageable amount of pain territory. It's fading pretty fast. I'm glad you're getting the updates on the level of pain of my tongue bite. Man, I lost track of what I was telling you. Oh, the beard thing. Warheart says, man, I'm just kidding. I did used to let my beard grow out huge for, oh man, I don't know how many years that was. 5, 6, 7 years, something around there. Every year, like in October or something, I would just stop shaving altogether. And not just stop shaving, but stop like any kind of beard, no trimming, nothing. I mean, still, you know, it would get to a point where I would shampoo it. And, you know, so do that level, but no cutting is what I mean. I also never did any kind of like, what do people do, like beard wax? I'm not even sure. I don't, none of that ever. I just was like, here's what my facial hair looks like. And it used to be really unkempt. And it would like, and my neck hair too. I stopped shaving that. So that used to be an every year thing. So anyway, yes, if I do have some kind of subconscious behavior sometimes, where I'm going like this or something like that, yeah, I did used to groom my mane. I used to call it my mane. People responded pretty positively to that. Warheart says you do that too. That's great. That's awesome. Maybe we should do that at some point. Or maybe not, because I don't really want to grow back that beard right now. Maybe I might in the future. And then we can have some kind of like huge beard musician thing. Warheart says I shave seasonally. I could get on board with that. I shave more in the spring and the summer, but not even necessarily a large amount. I just cut my hair, yesterday did I do that? I usually cut my hair pretty often in the, I guess nowish, which is the late spring and summer. I cut my hair pretty often, pretty short, which is just this beautiful hairstyle. So you're getting a lot more value today. A lot more value than just 505 beat making content. You're learning about my beard and hair trimming history. Warheart says I need a haircut. That he needs a haircut. Warheart says he needs a haircut. So now we got this beat being built up here. This beat's coming through. I like this slicer on this. I'm going to put a gate reverb on the top. That applies to everything except the bass. Bass doesn't have the output effects. But you could hear how it has that like loudness, that like swooshing loudness. Swooshing loudness. Yes, you can hear how it has the swooshing loudness. You see that? The swooshing loudness. Loudness. I just had a bite of this. Oh no. This is a vegetarian egg substitute. This little like quote unquote scrambled egg patty. They're really dope. It's made from beans, and I don't remember exactly which kind of beans. And I mean, it's obviously not scrambled eggs, but I mean, if somebody put that in a sandwich and they're like, hey man, here's an egg sandwich, and I ate it and it had other stuff on it, like some kind of sauce and I don't know, some vegetables maybe or whatever. And they're like, here you go, here's some scrambled eggs. I made a little scrambled egg patty. I would eat that and be like, this is some pretty dope scrambled eggs. If you eat it by itself, like I'm sitting here just eating them, you could, I mean, you know it's not scrambled eggs, but they're pretty good. I like them. If you don't expect them to be eggs, you expect them to be some bean patty, they're pretty dope. And you know what else is pretty dope? We got another layer to add up here. You've heard 3 instruments already on the top looper. You got this one. This is one of the instruments. I have 2 loops on this one instrument. They like harmonize with each other or whatever the word would be. That's one instrument. Then we got the bass. That's another instrument. We talked about how these were all built up. Then we got this other thing that I just introduced. That's a 3rd instrument, whatever you would call this. But there's still one more instrument. There's a 4th instrument. And there's one remaining unused loop layer here. So let's do this final layer, my friends. What will it be built out of? Let's see. I'm gonna look at the... What is it? Okay, this one, yes. So this final instrument that I'm about to use that you have not heard yet. This final instrument is made of 4 layers, just like all of them are. Oh, see, I just did that thing again in my stomach, where I'm moving the headphone wire out of the way, but it's not there. Anyway, this next instrument that I'm about to use is built out of the following 4 layers. It's built out of a preamp. A preamp is a large boost, and it also often has, like if you literally hooked up a guitar to a physical amp, you know, play a guitar through an amp, and it has that like grungy sound to it. Preamp can do that as part of its capabilities. So it's an amplification plus some sound distortion. And that's the bass flavor of this next instrument I'm going to use. Then I pass that into the electric, which is the tuner. Then I pass it into a vibrato or vibrato, I don't know how to pronounce it. And that just gives it, again, sort of like a wavy, almost a little choppy feel. And then this one is also finally passed into a tremolo, which is the same thing that these have here. Where they get a little choppy toward the end there. That's a tremolo that's on those. And this next instrument I'm going to use also has a tremolo on it. Ah, you see this? Ah, dang. But the kick layer over here, even though the volume slider is all the way up, it wasn't fully on. That happened a moment ago too. I was going to show you, but then it popped back into place. Anyway, let's get into this final layer with this final instrument, my friends. Oh my goodness, I just did the headphone wire again. I'm doing it looks like it seems when I'm like, I move a little away from the table and then I come back to the table, and if I make physical contact with the table, that I think is when I'm doing the moving of, the moving of the phantom headphone wire. Because if I catch that, if it were down still, the headphone wire, and I caught it here between my body and the table, then if I move at all, then I'll get like either jammed on it or it'll do, some junk like this. So I'm in the habit of clearing that out of the way. So we'll see when that gets worked out. But here's what's going to get worked out right now. This final loop with this final instrument. Warheart says, if I use a tremolo, is it tempo synced? Yes. You can use tremolo in two different ways. You can use it in a tempo synced way, which is how I generally use it. There may be an exception I'm forgetting, but generally I make it, you can set it, I think, a half note all the way down to a 30-second note. You can do the frequency. And that's the same thing with anything that you might want to sync, like a slicer or a delay, even reverb. And there's other things too that sync with the beat or whatever the tempo is, the beats per minute. So you can use tremolo in that way, yes, or you could use it based on milliseconds. And I know that if you want to get experimental with things, sometimes people like to do different milliseconds. That gives them a lot finer control, and all of this. So that's available too. Yeah. So the answer is yes. Let's get into this final layer, my friends. I'm going to go off the spoken mic. I'm going to flip my switches, and it's going to get turned onto the looper to make it sound like this new instrument, which again is made out of a preamp, electric, vibrato, tremolo. That sounded pretty good. I'll give some more commentary about that new instrument, that new layer I just laid down. But first I have to give a mad shout out to the man himself. The man himself, none other than the man himself. You know him as who has just now joined us in the chat, which is awesome. See, Warheart is once again demonstrating how much he totally gets it. Warheart's talking about, he says like, oh man, if you take the tempo and you just make it like a little off, not necessarily some significant amount, not necessarily something super obvious right away, but if you do that, then you can get some like really wild stuff. That's like, yes, exactly. You get it. He says you can get some phasey action. Yeah. That's like if you're at a stoplight and you're making a left, let's say, and you're in a line of people making a left. There's people in front of you and behind you, and everybody has their turn signal on, and you see them like look like they're going to the same at first, but then they slowly stop being the same, and you're like, what the hell happened? And then after a while, you do see them sync again, but they go through these phases of not being synced. You can do that on a single instrument and make some cool, as you say, phasey action. Viral says, I was busy shampooing my carpet. Whoa. Does that include one of those big machines? One of those big carpet shampoo machines? Warheart has even more to add related to the phasing. In the sense that it can affect the mix. Oh man, we're gonna have mixing conversations as well. That's another cool thing about these 505s, by the way. There's sort of an implied mixingness that you have to do as part of, a core element of using them is just turning them on and off and setting them up with different panning and all of these different volume levels at the bass level and all of this. Output effects, input effects. I guess that's all it really is, just mixing. Mixing nimbly. So we got this new instrument here. This one. This was the fourth and final instrument, taking up the final remaining space. And this one, once again, this one is the preamp fed into the electric, which is the tuner, fed into the vibrato or vibrato, tremolo, or tremolo. That one also I don't know how to pronounce. Warheart says he's got, what is that, vinyl? Is that what it says? Vinyl floors? How do you like that? Is that, like, what's your opinion on that? Good, not good? I'm curious to hear, various possibilities on how one might, what would you say? That's not furnishing. What if you were to redo your floors and you say, all right, I have carpet, but I'm going to get, what? Wood floors. You said vinyl floors. What are the pros and cons? What do you think of vinyl floors? What are the pros and cons? Warheart says, love it. All right, I'm with it. I'm also with this very excellent 505 beatmaking stream. Because at this time, you've heard a lot. You really got a bunch of good stuff on the stream today. You saw how I built up all the different layers, all the different but all the different sound effects that I build up and make into the different the sound effects that I build up into instruments. You got some of my other thoughts related to the loopers, a little bit of my own history, plus a whole bunch of tangents, which is really the best possible experience you could ask for, I think. And at this time, in order to celebrate having the best possible experience together, which we have done, we've done it. We have had the best possible experience together. And at this time, I'm going to celebrate that. I have my drink. I'm going to do the lightning fast round of counting up to 3 and clinking the screen. It starts on 1. Oh, it's going to happen so fast. 2. Oh my goodness, here it comes. It's all ready to go. 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh, that's good. Please like this video. What a great experience this has been. I love connecting with you like this. There's so much more that I've shown you today. So much more. I hope to see you in the next live stream. Please continue to let me know what would you like to know about the loopers. When we do these 505 beat making streams, this is purely in service of you and your interest in the hardware. Like, how would I use one of those things if I could get my hands on one for, maybe you could rent one. There's a place near me that rents them, or rents music gear in general. Or maybe you're just going to buy one. You get a lot of that here today in the 505 beat making stream and in general. But the 505 beat making streams are not the only kind of streams. You see the 505 in the upper right here, 505 beat making, that's what you got today. But there's other types of live streams on the Reconsider It menu, as you see here. You might get the upper left, you got some loops and chill. That's like if you saw me play at a show. You saw me play at a venue, like you went to the bar. You go to some dive bar where there's like, 13 people and there's a pool table that's good enough to play, but maybe not the best pool table you've ever seen in your life. And there's not really enough space to walk in some spots. It's got a really weird floor plan. But you get those 13 people cramming in, getting to see the show, and there's all this really dense energy. That's the upper left. That's loops and chill. That's like you saw me at a show, playing at a venue. That's a well put together show. I'm doing a performance there on loops and chill. And that's totally improvised, making up beats on the fly, giving them a structure. Hey, here's this song. Or next time you join us on a live stream, you might get the bottom left, unspoken, where it's just purely instrumental. I never talk on the mic even once. And I bring in the synthesizer in addition to the loopers. Oh man, it gets real dope. These unspoken streams are real good. Or you might get the lower right, where you got tinkering in the studio. That's where we just hang out and talk like we did today. There was a lot of talking today. Tinkering in the studio doesn't have any focus at all. It's pure wandering aimlessness. But we do it together. I bring in the synth. We do more looper stuff with the synth. It's really good. You know what else is really good? Emperor Kamikaze has joined us right now in the chat. Very, very nice. So whatever it is, the next time that you join us for a Reconsider It live stream, whatever those 4 different streams you're going to get on that day, I am looking forward to seeing you at that time. And until then, please have a good day. Please have a good day today. Please have a good day starting right now. Please let the rest of your day today bring you all sorts of benefits. Please receive all of the benefits that are awaiting you today. Please be open to them from every angle, from every corner of your day today. Please receive a whole bunch of healing today. Healing that you felt might have been impossible and beyond you, and you have all of these reasons why. Please have that healing today. Please have enjoyment and pleasure today. Please have one of those things that you really like a lot and you are just very happy to have it. Please have one of those things today. And please experience the subjective experience of feeling grateful that you got to have it today. Please experience what it's like to fully indulge that thing that you like, and you say, I really like this, and just like sit there and spend some time with the fact that you like it, and feel the fact that you like it, and enjoy the fact that you get to like things, and you get to have things that you like, and look at how great it is that you got to have this thing that you like today. Please have all manner of good things today. Please let the rest of your day today be a doorway, just opening up new possibilities of what awesomeness might yet come into your life. Let it begin today. Have the first steps of your new life today. And in the rest of your day today, please set yourself up for a very excellent and restful and rejuvenating and thorough sleep. Please have a very excellent rest today. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.